And I endured so much pain already. I thought, man, I reached the pinnacle. It was on a 1 mile track.
Why were you doing this? Because you were trying to be uncommon amongst uncommon.
I was trying to raise money for Special Operations Warrior Foundation. It's a foundation that gives 100% tuition to special operators' kids. So if your dad died, he was a special operator, your kid goes to school full tuition. Great foundation. So I found a foundation. I was like, I gotta find a way to raise money. So I found this race called Badwater 135. I didn't know anything about ultra running, knew nothing about it. Call the race director up, it's all in the book. I even had the emails in the book from me and Chris Kosman going back and forth. And he basically says, you have to qualify for my race. I was like 200 and some odd pounds. I was a bodybuilder now, wasn't a big runner. I literally did 20 minutes on the elliptical trainer every Sunday. That's it. That was my cardio. I lifted weights, and that's what I did. So I call him up on a Wednesday, and he says, basically to qualify for the Badwater.
Which is 135
miles through
the
Death
desert,
Valley.
Through Death Valley.
In the summertime. I thought it was a stage race where you ran like 5 or 6 days, because I didn't know that was humanly possible. So I called him on a Wednesday. He said, you got to qualify. There's only 2 more races I could do to qualify for the Badwater before the deadline ended. One was in San Diego, Saturday. So Wednesday to Saturday, 3.5 days, it's not a lot of time. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'm gonna go try to do this race. So I go out here, have a blue lawn chair, Ritz crackers and Mileplex, and I'm gonna see my crew person every mile. And I get to mile 50, I literally detail it perfectly in the book. But at mile 70, I'm broken. I didn't train for it at all. 0 training for this race. But this is when I start realizing, man, my God, man, this is when I realized we are not even trying. Because at mile 70, I was in the worst pain of my entire life. I was broken. I thought my 3rd hell week, I was really bad off. No, there's nothing I can ever imagine being worse than this race. And it was the easiest 100-mile race I've ever done in my life, ever. But I wasn't prepared. And so at mile 70, I'm literally in this chair and I'm pissing blood. I'm crapping up my back. I'm in the worst shape of my life. And I'm like, I need to quit. I need to quit. But what I did though was through my life, I realized that your mind wants to quit. It's called the 1 second decision. I call it the 1 second decision when your mind is spazzing out. And it's like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. We're miserable. Let's go home. And at mile 70, I was there, but I didn't get there till I sat down. It's like, oh my God, my blood pressure dropped. I was dizzy, lightheaded, and the pain just came over me. Because my body thought I was done in my mind. So I sat there and said, you know what? I might quit. I knew I wasn't, but what that might quit did was it kind of gave my mind all that anxiety and let it go. Because my mind said, oh, he's gonna quit. So we're gonna sit here for a while and just sit here. We're done. So I literally start to get food, hydrate up, and I'm dizzy and I can't stand up. So now, after a while, I stand up. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna quit. But once again, I knew I wasn't. There's a trick to the mind.
So you're fucking with your own mind.
That's right. Give
Advanced
your mind,
level. This is black belt
that's
shit.
That's right. Give your mind a little bit of space. Because if it knows I have 30 more fucking miles to go and I'm in the worst shape of my fucking life, my mind's gonna say, no way, dude. So you gotta give it some space. Say, you know what? If I can stand up and walk 1 mile, this would be the biggest achievement of my life because I'm death. Right now, I'm death. If I can get up and walk 1 mile, that'd be the best thing I've done in my life. I walked a mile. And I won't go too deep into it all. I got 2 miles. Maybe I'll try 3. I did this to mile 81. At mile 81, the person crewing was like, hey, you know what? Basically, I knew I wasn't gonna make the time because I was crawling around that track, crawling. And this is the eureka moment. This is it. Out of my whole life, this is the one time, this is when I realized that we are fucking way way cutting ourselves short. Worst shape of my life, thought I was gonna die. Never felt this kind of pain before in my life, ever, never again. In my 81, when I knew I wasn't gonna make the time, I ran. I ran 20 miles. I did 101 miles. I was averaging like 10:30s. Coming from death, being able to barely walk, now I'm running 10 to 10:30s for the next 20 miles. When I got done with that, I sat back down in that chair that was now my porta potty, and it was my ex-wife. She actually backed the car up on this grassy knoll where I was kind of, camped up at for 19 hours and 6 minutes. I ran 101 miles. Walked 101 miles. I got home. I detail it well in the book. I won't go through it well. It was a horrible situation. I was in the worst shape of my life. Passing out, shitting on myself, peeing blood. I got in the tub. I had this poncho liner on because in San Diego in November, it's chilly. So I'm freezing. She puts the water on me and I'm peeing what looks like dirt. It's just dark. It looks like dirt coming out of me. And we have a discussion and she calls my mom up. My mom has a doctor friend. The doctor friend says, you got to get him to the hospital. His kidneys are shutting down. This is going on. He could die. And this is where the story gets kind of crazy. It was the best and worst feeling I had in my life. I had put myself in a situation where I opened my mind to the fullest capacity to pull this off. And all the pain, it was live. The pain sensors were going to my body. I'm in this tub in the fetal position. The water's coming down on me. And I'm just sitting there, just jackhammering. Hot water hit me. I'm jackhammering, peeing Coca-Cola out of me. I'm like, God, dog, And she goes, we gotta get you to the hospital. It was the best feeling of my entire life. And everybody goes, how do you say that? I probably could have died. And I literally pushed myself to a place that very few human beings would ever be willing to go. And I got to examine myself. I call it the live autopsy, where we find out why someone died after they're dead. I got a chance in 19 hours and 6 minutes to put myself in the worst possible condition I could possibly be in and figure out how to get through it and get through it. And all this pain going through me was confirmation that I had just done something that I thought was humanly impossible. And I didn't want it to go away.
You're reveling in that moment thinking, man, look what I just did.
Look what the human mind can do.
Right.
And from that 19 hours and 6 minutes, I lived an entire lifetime. Entire lifetime. People live 100 years and never experience the highs, the lows, the journey I did, all of it. In 19 hours and 6 minutes, I lived 100 years. And I try hard to put it in the book, but no one will ever be able to really understand what that was about. And I was like, if I die here today, I'm fine with that, because I just literally pulled off something that I never thought was even humanly possible.